Let's remove that. Let's put that back on. I'm gonna keep following the coastline. I'll double back and check all the other things that were glowing. These rusty gears used to turn the whole machine. The building before you housed the engine. Must have been a big one. The engine? The chain trails off into the ocean to who knows where.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
What is this thing anyway?
It's military. A service depot of some sort.
Used to service what?
The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
Interfacing check. And it says you can only do it one time. And I've got a +2 interfacing currently equipped right now. From the gloves. Alright, so I actually already have my best interfacing gear on, and it's a 3%, and you can only attempt it once. This barrel has been recently discarded. It still smells of fuel oil. I could save scum it roughly 33 times to get it done, but, you know, we're not that kind of person. Cigarette butts cleaned away under a rock. Brand Tiu Mortiri. Someone's made a campfire here a long time ago. A rusted, broken control box for the radio relay tower. The ladder is too rusty to climb. The sea air has eaten away at it. This relay tower coordinates boat traffic in the bay, barely. Scented scarf. Tiny inlets there, off in the far distance, where the post trail towards. Wait, what was that? You take a mental note. Tiu Matiri. Seems important somehow. Okay. Shirt and 14 cents, yes! We are richer. More money than I had a minute ago, chat. Is that a spoiler? I don't think so. That was incredibly vague, Blue. You can put the hammer down, I think. A dead phone. A smashed receiver, like someone hung up too hard.
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change.
I don't want to spend money on a call. Someone must have worked hard to smash the plastic dome. Psychopaths. Bottles! That's at least 20 cents. Buzz. The electricity flows through the wires with audible power.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad.
Take a closer look.
It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you.
It might be a clue.
A clue? You think our suspect is a seagull who's been defecating on unsuspecting jacket?
It could have been multiple seagulls, Kim. Just because of his character, that sigh spoke volumes. Like, it said a lot.
You should still take it.
A coin-operated weighing machine. Hasn't been used for a decade. +2 encyclopedia. Prescription lenses. Vagrants have recently painted the tarp red. Water drips from it. Whatever that is, it's locked. A makeshift roof. Vagrants have tried to make the boardwalk inhabitable. Money, yes. A big wine canister. It's open and empty.
The smell. It's awful and familiar.
Isn't it just the rotting fish?
Don't be naive.
What is it then?
Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. That faintly cloying sweetness.
Oh no, is this guy
Only
dead?
death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear.
Heads up, Lieutenant. Something's not right here.
The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin.
Examine the tear.
2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
Mug, can't I swing the hammer just a teensy bit as a treat? Blue and Jackals, you guys can hit each other with band hammers because you both have resistance to it. Like, you use that to get it out of your system.
A tragedy.
The lieutenant looks in the can, eyes watering from the smell.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness.
Examine the cigarette wrapper.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra.
Examine the kebab wrapper.
You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief.
Leave.
A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet.
Okay, it looks like his right leg went through the boardwalk, and maybe he nailed his head on the bench on the way down?
The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
I hope it's not that lady's missing husband.
Hold on.
The lieutenant squats next to the corpse and examines his face. 2 bulging eyes stare back at him, void of any signs of life.
Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer.
He
We
stands
need
up.
to investigate.
He stands up and shivers as a gust of wind blows through his bomber jacket.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe.
Study the surroundings.
There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist.
Examine the man's head.
A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch.
Continue.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you?
No, just this one at the back of his head.
Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
Step on the floorboards. Can I just, like, poke them with my toe?
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet.
Examine the bottle.
A .75-liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us.
He looks at 2 other bottles near the coin-operated viewer, then at your yellow plastic bag.
I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
He actually comments on the fact that I've been picking up trash this whole game.
True. It feels disrespectful.
Examine the chewing gum wrapper.
Rybowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall.
Look in.
The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too?
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario, even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
In a ditch off a road below the 881, he thinks, a young father. Then he shakes his head to make the memory stop.
Step back.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Study the man's clothes.
He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest.
How are you enjoying the game? It's wild. I can't imagine ever having the type of mind to make a game like this. Like, and that's a weird bit of feedback, I think. Even I recognize that. But it's like, take Subnautica. If someone was like, hey, I want to make a survival game where it starts off where you crash land from a spaceship and you land on a planet that's mostly water, and it's about like survival. Like, I could help give feedback on how to make that world. Like, I can wrap my head around that. This, every freaking paragraph is written like, it's like, I know they're speaking English, but it's almost like they're speaking another language with just the way that they describe everything. It's crazy in a pleasant way. So it very much is just like, this is wild and I'm kind of along for the ride. Yeah, it's definitely out there. It's, I mean, what is this, like, what is this genre? It's almost a point-and-click adventure game as far as solving puzzles. Like, you gotta find one thing, and you use that thing to solve another thing, you know? Like, you know, we had to... we found our badge, and now that's going to allow us to talk to this other lady that wouldn't talk to us till we found our badge. Things like that. But then it's also just the crazy writing. The voice acting is stellar as well. The voice acting actually makes time an issue. If it wasn't for the voice acting, I could read this stuff much faster. The devs were hella depressed alcoholic writers. I don't know if you're joking or not. Search his pockets.
You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into two. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Continue.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
Study the man himself.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine, or 1.5 of spirits.
Examine his face.
His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all.
Who is this man?
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here.
He looks south, the way you came.
But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. Now that would be just sad.
Shut up, electrochemistry.
This is an omen, a sign from above. Don't start drinking again.
He looks like me. I could have ended up just like him, dead on some empty boardwalk with a bottle next to my corpse.
Well, at least you're not married.
The lieutenant points at the ring on the man's left hand, the flesh around it swollen and gray.
Or, what if you are?
I hurt my own morale with that statement, by the way, Chop.
But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boardwalk.
What do you think happened here?
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Do you think he was drunk? Point at the bottle.
Oh yes.
What about alcohol poisoning, liver failure?
Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure.
What about the kebab?
What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box.
Could it be related to the lynching?
No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Someone should be held responsible for the broken boardwalk. It's dangerous.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean.
Right.
It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body.
What should we do with him?
From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle.
We found him. We should finish this. Wait, hold on. What about field autopsy?
A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work.
You're right. I don't see anything criminal here. Let's leave it at that.
Good call. The guys at processing can take care of the rest.
Alright, we found him. We should finish this. Take the case.
Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
Leave. This coin-operated viewer has been out of order for years. Alright, folded library card.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53.
Look inside.
Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinting Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too.
Look at the back side of the card.
If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55 211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
Put it away. Okay, got some evidence about the dead guy. Careful there, these floorboards look rotten and weak. Yeah, I noticed. Bars cover these long, dusty windows.
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D.
If Harry was a Revenant, what subspec would he be? Renegade, because he absolutely has a whole, like, Char Legion yelling in his head.
A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, tomorrow is just a whisper away.
Tomorrow is just a whisper away.
Looks like tomorrow never came.
The lieutenant raises the collar of his bomber jacket. Turn away. Money! Another power box. It charges nothing now. It's empty. The fence blocks the path. No way on from here. Ah, there's some dudes. That might be the crypto guys. Who are these two?
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with.
He sees you approaching and smiles.
You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Hold on, hypertext?
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
What was that about the windows before?
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall.
You and Kim know each other?
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers.
He rests his hand on the boy's shoulder. The child stays hidden behind the hem of his father's coat, clutching to his worm-themed coloring book.
Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into Worms lately.
I wonder if the radio computer inside the church is this guy's.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see.
Vance.
Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
He points to the building again.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why?
You look like someone who has money. What's so fascinating about an empty old building?
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building.
He raises his hand to his eyes to shield himself from the freezing snow. All four of you turn to admire the mural before you.
What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on. What's R&D?
I know that. Look at the building looming over you.
It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
Well, I know what R&D was, but Harry doesn't. Maybe this will unlock something. Wait, what's an R&D department?
Apologies, it's an acronym for research and development.
You don't say.
They don't use it anymore.
He smiles brightly, laugh lines around his eyes.
You're probably more familiar with RTD, Research and Technological Development.
Mea culpa. You are not familiar with that one either. This man is a bookhead.
I don't think I've ever heard of this field electrical.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains.
He adjusts his suit jacket.
They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era.
Continue.
Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve. Or should I say, they were developing an ace up their sleeve? I'm mixing my metaphors here.
What was that ace?
It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
Tape computer?
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He grins, admiring the sentence he just produced. What happened?
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
The boy wipes his nose on his sleeve.
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes. Possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins.
He pauses, pointing to the other building, and then continues.
All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
You're saying that Feld Electrical built this boardwalk. Look under your feet.
Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
I think that was the Ferris wheel.
A pleasure wheel?
The lieutenant looks wistfully at the horizon as if picturing gondolas rising to the sky.
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer there were a big wheel lighting up the coast.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans.
What happened to the engineers, the company people?
Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
Okay, what did the revolutionaries do with those advanced tape computers?
They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars.
What was that?
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02. It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans ce Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
How did those tape computers work? Did they work like radio computers?
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
He raises his finger, remembering something.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredevoort.
Wompty Dumpty Dum.
It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team. Trying to...
He did it. He said, Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world.
Right?
What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
Alright, no, I don't care. Back to, where were we? Tape computers, I think?
Yes, tape computers and Feld electrical.
I wanted to ask something else.
But of course, what else?
Thanks for the interesting information.
No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Okay. Alright. So we are... So there's the church. So we're like here. Yeah, we're like here. So, yeah, this area was blocked by the water lock. And we ended up... We went down the coastline. There's a coastline here, because this map is not accurate. And went to the church. We passed that building over here behind where this... oh, actually right there. The Ferris wheel is where the dead guy was. And then we came back down. That's where the jacket covered in poop was. And now we're right there. Alright. So, that means that this was a dock. There was water here in the past. But now it's, I guess, like the tide's gone further out. We're going to save it here. And we will pick it back up from this moment next time.